Look at this golden scripture. In Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 15. This will shock you. The labor of the foolish wearied every one of them, because he know not how to go to the city. The successful man is laboring. The unsuccessful man is laboring. But there are not two kinds of labor. The labor of one is foolish. The labor of the other one is smart. What is the difference? This other unsuccessful man, he know not how to go to the city. Every prophecy of scripture is correct. But the question is, believers don't know how to go to the city. That's what the problem is. Now, there are familiar scriptures we are familiar with. We quote them almost all the time in the church. Now, what are the scriptures? For my people are gone into captivity because they lack knowledge. Hosea chapter 4 verse 6, we are familiar. Now, John chapter 8 and verse 32, for my people, for you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you. We are familiar. But there is something I want to show you in scripture. The difference between the very rich and the very poor. The very successful and the unsuccessful. I want to show you something in Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 2. Now, in Ecclesiastes chapter 10 and verse 2, the first time I ran into this scripture, I screamed, I shouted, I say, God, is this in the Bible? Look at this. A wise man's heart is at his right hand, but a fool's heart is at his left. Success is not a native of any country. Principles are stronger than principalities. Success has no regard whether you are black or white, your color, your gender. It has nothing to do with who you are. But just listen to this truth. Now, what is the position of your heart? Is it on the left-hand side or on the right? Little wonder in the book of Proverbs, I think chapter 4 and verse 23, it said, guide your heart, protect it. Another translation says, engage guards to guide your heart. Because out of your heart are the issues of life. What? Out of your heart are the issues of life. He said, guide your heart, protect your heart, because from your heart comes the issues of what? Of life. This is very critical. As a man thinketh in his heart, that is how the man is. As a man thinketh in his heart, that is how the man is. Your thought is your person. Unfortunately, this is what Christians are doing. Oh God, prosper me. Every dim of my way, clear. Every man in my father's house, in my village, holding me. I clear, I die, fall, collapse. Now, can I tell you something? Ignorance is not a demon. So you can't cast it out. You can spend all your life praying this prayer and remain poorer. What you need to do is to end your foolish labor by finding out how to go to the city. A man who knows how to go to the city does not struggle. When you have the key of your car, you open it laughing. When you have the key of your door, you open it smiling. You don't struggle. You only struggle when you have your car key, trying to use it to open your door. You have the key, but it's for the wrong purpose. Many of us have expired keys in our hands. Some keys that are not relevant. Some keys that are not scripturally current. This book is all-time book. The oldest book with latest truth. The oldest book with current facts. The scripture says they are new every morning. Ladies and gentlemen, ignorance is not a demon, so you can't cast it out. You need to know, how do I go to the city? This is very critical. He said, a wise man's heart is at his right. A foolish man's heart is at his left. Let me say this very briefly. Peter said in Acts 10 and verse 34, he said, now I know that God is not a respecter of persons. God has no preference for white or black. So don't allow your background to put you on the ground.